Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? We give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly.
And
Tyler Hymanson.
Boy. Yeah, creepy. Well, welcome, you guys. It's an exciting time for us here at Sequel Rights, as it always is when we're starting a brand new franchise from the start. This week, we're talking about Phantasm from 1979. But before we get too far into it, Eliz, where can people reach out to us?
Yeah. Send us an email, sequelrights@gmail.com, with your comments, questions, and suggestions for future franchises. Or you can reach out to us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it. Helps more people find the podcast, climb in the lists. If you put in your review, we're looking for recommendations for holiday movies. Holiday movies are coming up, and we've done a lot of those big franchises.
Yeah.
If there's a holiday franchise that you enjoy, put it in your comment, and we just might do it.
That's right. But before that, we get into spooky season. Woo! My favorite time of the year, Halloween times. We already got the pumpkin spice going out here.
Enter the Fall Dome.
We're not sponsored by Native, but other podcasts I listen to are, and I bought their stupid pumpkin spice latte soap. So we're gonna see what that smells like this week. But anyways, we're talking about Don Coscarelli's Phantasm. And without further ado, take it away, definition guy.
Phantasm, the delusion of a disordered mind, a phantom, a spirit, a ghost. For nearly 4 decades it has been contained, but evil always has a way of breaking free.
Tommy's gone. It's hard to believe. It was a good idea not to let your little brother come to the funeral. Hey, I don't like this place. Something weird is going on up
there. The funeral is about to begin, sir.
What's wrong with you?
There's something up there. I saw it.
You got some kind of an overactive imagination or something?
I know you're not gonna believe this, but these things were here.
Oh, give me a break.
Oh man, I know that was a long trailer, but I just really liked the way that one sounded.
It has like the whole beginning of the movie in it.
I know. It's good. It's a good introduction for those of you who may just be tuning in and not having seen the movie for whatever reason.
Not knowing who the tall man is.
That's right.
Much like I did before yesterday.
So Eliz, you had never seen this movie?
No, I didn't. I don't even know that I had really heard of it. I think maybe I thought it was the Phantom or something, like the comic book
You're
character.
Like, when's he gonna sing? Oh, when's Billy Zane gonna show up?
Where's the mask?
I mean, if he had sung, that would have been awesome. But I knew
Billy
nothing
Zane was gonna
about
sing
it.
a song.
Yeah, I knew absolutely nothing about it. Just that Tyler was excited about it and that it was spooky in some way.
Nice. And Tyler, you had seen it, of course, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, this one I had actually watched fairly recently because I had bought the, Mondo put out a awesome, vinyl record of the score for this by Fred Myrow and what's the other guy's name? Malcolm Seagrave. And so, on some of these scores that I buy, I'm like, I want to watch the movie first and then listen to the record. So I watched the movie on Amazon, and so it was fun getting to watch it again here with a little bit more of a critical eye than to just enjoy it.
Well, and also we all got the privilege of watching it on the Bad Robot Restored.
Yes.
Nice, clean print of the movie that you can, that's the version that's up on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah.
And it's the best I've ever seen this movie look. I saw it years ago, and it must have been on some bootleg DVD or worse. And I'd never seen it look this good.
Nice.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys were going to be like, huh? Bad Robot? What is going on?
I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that kind of like, for me, immediately put like, I mean, not that I blindly trust JJ after what happened, but it added an air of legitimacy to the film that Bad Robot would care enough.
Well, you knew it was going to be spooky when you saw that Bad Robot logo because the dead speak.
That's true. The dead do speak.
The dead
With an exclamation point.
The dead speak.
Oh boy. I love their retro logo too. I'm like, I want to, I don't know if there's more movies that have that, but I want to see it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know whose job it is to dig through old horror movies to find for Bad Robot to like restore, but like, I want that job. Like, hire me. I would love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I'm glad that happened. So like, in 2016, JJ Abrams like became involved in bringing this restoration. So yeah, the one that is available everywhere to watch online on Shudder and Amazon Prime is the remastered version. And
speaking of something that rhymes with remaster, the director is also going through this crazy thing right now where they can't find the original Beastmaster print.
Oh, I saw that.
Which is that they're like, they can't find the original print of the movie, but they're trying to find that so they can get a restoration. Beastmaster, another series by Don Coscarelli that people have often suggested that we do. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm interested. I guess, I don't know if you guys want to walk through this or want to give your thoughts here.
Walk through the mausoleum.
Yes. Walk through this, the mortuary, the Morningside mortuary.
What's the year?
1979.
So it was shot in 77 and completed in 77, but it didn't get distribution until 79.
Interesting. Yeah, just because there's so many, things that you see in this movie that you're like, oh, that reminds me of blah, but it's like, 2 decades before Twin Peaks or, like
Halloween.
It
actually came out. It came out before Eraserhead and Halloween. He made it.
Yeah. So it like the mausoleum really gave me like serious Red Room like type vibes. So yeah, that just is what kind of came across to me. But yeah, it's amazing that. Well, I didn't know, not knowing anything about it, and then just seeing the picture on Amazon, you don't know that there's gonna be any sci-fi stuff. You're just like, okay, like creepy dude. He looks kind of like the poltergeist guy, like it's gonna probably be scary, dead bodies or something like that. And then all of a sudden, like the silver thing comes out, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Like, why are there Jawas in this movie?
Yeah, why are there Jawas before there was Jawas?
Yeah. Like,
oh yeah. That is, I mean, I think that's some of the what makes this movie great is because there's just like the entire movie, even all the way up to the very end, you're just like, what is happening? What is going on? I want to know what the deal is with this dude, the tall man, played by Angus Scrim,
sir,
who is just like
about to begin.
Yeah, just a force to be reckoned with in this movie.
But yeah, let's like go over the central premise, which is that there's a spooky.
That there's an ice cream man who plays guitar.
Yeah, the nicest ice cream man ever. He's not.
That's
creepy
the central
at all.
premise, I think.
He's not creepy at all. He's just like a nice guy.
No, he's incredibly creepy. He's bald, but he has a ponytail. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything creepy.
It's the 70s, Elias.
All he does is try to save people. Yeah. The entire movie is like, I found all these people and I helped them escape, and then he gets killed for trying to help. Every
time I saw his hair, I was like, wow. Okay, I would never let my children buy ice cream from him.
Yeah, maybe he looks like a creep, but like he's not actually a creep.
Yeah, maybe he looks like a little too much like Ron Howard's brother, but
he's gonna raise his dead friend's brother. Anyways, yeah, so we've got the Morningside mortuary, right?
Yep.
Morningside Cemetery, I think.
Which was apparently a real place. It's now called Forest Lawn Long Beach, but previously in the 70s, it was, or actually earlier than that, it was the Morningside Mortuary, which is the actual name of a location in Long Beach. Not where they shot this, but based off a real place.
Interesting. Isn't Morningside the name of the daycare in Toy Story 3?
I think that's correct. Or maybe it's Sunnyside.
Oh,
Sure.
you're right. It's Sunnyside. Never mind. Close enough.
That would be funny if that was like a Phantasm reference. Yeah,
Yeah, Phantasm reference.
I wouldn't be surprised.
My bad.
No, neither would I.
Yeah, so we kind of open on this dude like making out with some girl, and like, you know, as you do in the cemetery, they're having sex, and then all of a sudden, you know, right after he's done, I guess she pulls out a knife and stabs him in the chest, and there's a weird cut of it showing the tall man for a second, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, like, well, okay, so spoiler alert, the tall man tries to do this twice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I bet you that he convinces himself that he's not gay because he's only turning into a girl to like seduce the guys to kill them and whatnot. But I'm like, if you wait until after they finish and then you stab them with the ritualistic dagger, I'm sorry, dude.
It's a power move. Yeah.
Yeah. You might like dudes. Just saying.
Yeah, it was kind of like the second time when he's doing it to Jody, I was like, why do you have to go that far? I mean, he's already pretty, you know.
So an amazing detail about that scene. I'm listening to Don Coscarelli's book, True Indie, and I was listening a little bit today, and there were some good Phantasm stories. Is that the Jody and the girl were actually engaged to be married?
Whoa.
But they did not want to disrobe in front of each other before the ceremony. And so they had to use like a bunch of body doubles and different things to get around this.
What are they, Mormon?
I don't know. That he did not go into more detail, but it was.
So you're saying like he was probably really faking his reaction when she takes her top off, and he's like,
"Well, yeah, I was a completely different person."
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
That was the brother, wasn't it?
They both do it.
Wow.
Is that a young Owen Wilson? No, just kidding.
Wow.
The brother was looking through the binoculars from so far away, obscured by so many bushes and trees. I was like, there is no way that he could see those boobs from this far away. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. He was into it, yeah.
Yeah, that's their method. They bring guys into the graveyard with this girl who has sex with them, and then they kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Turn them into Jawas.
Something happens to them, yeah. They get squished down into...
They shove them into a barrel, and then somehow they become a Jawa.
Yeah. It's not
Jawa
fully
barrel.
explained. It's not fully explained.
Classic Jawa barrel.
So the main characters are these two brothers, Jody, who we've already discussed, and Mike, who's like the little brother. He's 13, and their parents have died in a mysterious car crash or something. And then
Jody's in a band, but
yeah, he's
is
in a
apparently
band.
the only person in a band who owns a suit.
Yeah, and then one guy in the band is the first guy who gets killed.
Yeah, Tommy.
Yeah, and to clarify, the other member of the band is main character Ice Cream Man and guitar player Reggie.
One of my favorite powers of the tall man that's not really explained or gone into more is the fact that he can like make Mike crash his little dirt bike by just like waving his hand or looking toward him. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he has some like psychokinesis powers for sure.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But only over Yamahas.
Yeah. Well, he does like blast open a door and some other
Yeah.
stuff later, like a Dracula later on in the movie.
There's a lot of Dracula stuff he does. Yeah.
Reggie and Jody are talking at the funeral like, oh, it's a good thing that you didn't like let Mike come to this funeral because he had nightmares for weeks after mom and dad's funerals. And so they're like, oh yeah, we left him at home and told him not to come. And he's like, he rides his motorized dirt bike there and then like watches through binoculars. And this is the first of probably a dozen times in this movie that Jody leaves Mike at home and says, don't follow me, don't leave the house.
Yeah.
And like, that's basically the main thing of this movie is that, okay, stay here, don't leave. And then 5 seconds later, he leaves. Like, I'm not kidding, probably a dozen times.
This kid can't be contained.
Well, also, like, every time the brother Jody goes, like, I'm gonna go do a thing, like, the tall man shows up to get Mike every time, so you'd think they would have learned by the end of the movie, like, maybe we should just stick together, because he always seems to show up where you're gonna be.
Well, and we know that Jody is a real fast learner, because there's one point where there is a severed finger from the tall man that spewed yellow blood that is still alive in a box, and there's a cut where Mike has just obviously told Jody the whole story, the whole crazy thing that that just happened, and he just opens up the box, the finger's still wiggling, and Jody just goes, "Okay, I believe everything."
Yeah, which was amazing.
And it's not a joke. It's not anything. It's just like, I'm 100% on board.
Which is, yeah, I mean, like, what else are you supposed to do when you're faced with what is obviously, I mean, unless you're just going to think it's a joke finger or something.
Well, after he sees that finger, he's like, all right, we're going to formulate a plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. And we're going to do a gun lecture. And then we're going to, like, take all these guns. You stay here, and I'm going to go tell the sheriff. And then he goes, he doesn't ever reach the sheriff. And even though there's, like, 10 other opportunities where they could have just gone and alerted law enforcement at any moment, they never do. They just keep deciding to do stupider and stupider things to go investigate on their own.
Yeah, I never understood why Jody, after his brother Mike tells him that whole story, would then be like, I'm gonna go confront this dude myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in that same way that you went in and probably get caught in the same exact way. I was kind of like, okay, but wouldn't you want to just go with multiple people now?
I do think that Mike does have one of the best ways of getting out of a locked room. That, like, it's such a kid's logic. Like, it's such like a 13-year-old, like, I'm going to take this shotgun shell and hit it with a hammer on the door and to get out. And it's like, yes, like, that's awesome. That's still awesome to me. But, like, it's such a 13-year-old's fantasy.
It was like a hillbilly Home Alone sequence or something.
I think that, I think like Mike kind of being like the central character that everything is happening through is like one of the reasons why people love this movie so much, because it's kind of like, maybe they saw it when they were a kid, or, it's one of those movies where it's like the kid is there trying to, tell all the dumb adults what's going on and taking charge and figuring out the mystery. And he's the one kind of dealing with the tall man the whole time by himself. And ultimately is like, I guess, kind of the hero at the end, or who knows what happens at the end there.
Yeah. It's like almost the meta story that you see now of like somebody who knows the rules of the horror movie trying to stop everybody before there was any rules of the horror movie or the slasher genre. Like, it's really interesting. And I think I completely agree. Like, it's probably one of the reasons why it has so much staying power and why so many kids, have fallen in love with it, or when you see this movie at that age, it's just such an exciting thing.
Yeah. And there's all these there's a lot of these like proto like Nightmare on Elm Street moments and stuff where it's like they're getting attacked in their dreams kind of situation, and there's lots of crazy dream logic stuff going on throughout the movie that I think is really, really cool, where you just kind of kept guessing the whole time, like, is this really happening or what's going on here? Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have all those scenes with the fortune tellers that let you know.
Oh my God, the fortune tellers!
Fortune teller. That was probably one of my favorite parts.
That they're just like punking this kid.
Yeah, just fucking with him.
The fact that the grandma like cracks up laughing after he leaves is just so great. Even though they did make that box, materialize out of nowhere.
Yeah, that Dune box.
With the help of me. I know. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally like that trailer we just saw.
Yeah. Or the book that he probably read.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't read the book, so I don't know how it's described in the book, but
yes.
I can only go off that.
It's a direct lift.
Nice.
Those fortune teller people were just so creepy. Like, the grandma didn't talk, and the granddaughter was like translating for her, and they both had like these, I don't know, like tattoos or drawings of like weird stars on their faces.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just super weird.
This movie gets strange, right? Like, it is off-putting.
I mean, that's why it's like, it's very unsettling. And like I loved the first time that, Jody is walking through the mortuary and, Mike is outside with the binoculars the first time, and you're starting to hear those weird noises and see like glimpses of little things like running just off screen. I love that moment because it's so freaky, because you like have no idea what's going on, and the sounds are so like, they're not like the greatest special effect noises you've ever heard in your life. It literally sounds like someone going, but it's just like creepy that this sounds like this home recorded, like handmade creepy noise. I don't know. I just really like it.
Well, and like I guess now's a good time to talk about like how this movie came about. Like Don Coscarelli, when he made it, was 22. He'd made some movies before, but this was the biggest movie, and like it was just his own money and shooting it on weekends and putting it together. And like there's a lot of shots and crazy shit in this movie that looks great. Like that I is like Eliz, now, like with production, and you're dealing with people, and like you think even with all this modern technology, like making movies is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And like this movie just has so much shit, and like to think that they did it with these giant 35 millimeter Panavision cameras is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if it's true, because it was all in the IMDb trivia, but there was a bunch of stuff about like they would rent the equipment on Friday and bring it back on Monday, so they only had to pay for like one day
that's definitely
rental.
that's
like
definitely a thing.
All the things like that, and like just all the shortcuts that they had to take to try and get this thing made. Yeah, it's super interesting. I guess part of the reason that Bad Robot ended up restoring it, this is also in the trivia, that J.J. Abrams reached out to him and said, hey, can you like have a screening for me of the movie? And he was like, I really don't have like a nice copy. I feel really bad about it, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, really? Okay, well, let me have my company restore it. And that's how this all came about, apparently.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
And JJ like apparently named Captain Phasma after Phantasm because of the chrome sphere that we see in Phantasm. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I mean we think this is all going to be dead body, ghosty, something sinister going on, and then it just turns to sci-fi so weirdly. Which I just didn't see coming at all. I don't know if you guys can remember like the first time you saw that, if you knew that was in the works or what, but
no, I had no idea. And even even watching it the second time, you're still I just love, like, part of what I love about the movie is that you're just like the entire time they're like slowly piecing out, like the first thing you see is, the tall man lifting that casket all by himself. And you're like, what the fuck? You're like, okay, what's going on there? And then you see him like you said, throw Mike off the bike and all this other stuff, and just weird thing after weird thing. And like, it's slowly like laid out, but even like once you get to the end, after you've seen the stuff on the other planet and the gateway and the tar buckets and all that stuff, like you're still like left kind of like, what is going on? I don't understand. And it makes me so excited to see like, what happens in these future installments.
Yeah,
definitely. Absolutely. So who were all the like guys in the movie, Tyler? Are they just like his friends, or were they just like?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So he did a movie before this that was like a coming of age movie, and like that's where he met the kid. Like they did an open casting call, and like the kid was just fantastic. The Reggie was like a prominent actor at Long Beach State or Cal State Long Beach. And had been in a couple of their other movies. So like, yeah, just guys that they kind of gravitated around and had been around that they wanted to work with. The older brother was like some local dude from Catalina who like used to, like, he grew up on Catalina and was a diver.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, so maybe the acting could have been a little better in some parts.
Yes.
I don't want to be mean, but it's sort of like an interesting thing where this guy who's probably like 19 or maybe 20 at most is trying to raise his younger brother after his parents died. Mm-hmm. And it's really kind of like ham-handedly done, where he's not very like nice to him. Like within earshot, he says to someone like at full volume, like, oh, he's so annoying. Like it's like he can sense that I'm gonna leave him. He follows me everywhere, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna send him off to live with his aunt. But like,
so apparently with that, the movie, there's a cut, like the first cut of the movie was incredibly long, and there's apparently like a bunch of scenes cut out that develops their relationship that I could only imagine would be even more awkward. But like the scenes that he describes are, yeah, like there's a scene of them having a turkey dinner or spending a lot of time with this aunt.
What?
Oh, God. The aunt who's not even in the movie at all anymore.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I really did get the sense that Mike was very sad and could sense this, not just because he's creepy, but because he heard him say it out loud. You know, like he's like, my brother's so creepy, he could tell I'm gonna leave. How did he know? Even though he can hear me right now, you know.
Well, I mean, it was a little bit weird that he like just went running after him on foot, like when he
that was
rides
weird.
His bike.
He often went running after him.
It made me think of It Follows, kind of, actually, like because like he's always following him, like he's always like it seems like the kid's just on his dirt bike roaming around. Like if it was a Sixth Sense situation reversed where he was dead the whole time, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, his creepy following does end up saving his brother's life a couple times, but still, it's like, okay.
I definitely get how it could be annoying, but also like if you want to get rid of your brother that you're supposed to be raising, I don't think you talk about it within earshot of him. Like,
no,
in that manner.
You'd shunt the door shut with a screwdriver and then go downstairs.
Yeah.
Also, this kid can drive a motor vehicle. Even though he's only 13, he can like stunt drive.
He's really good. He can shoot guns. He can stunt drive. He can escape. He can escape homemade escape rooms. He can do it all.
He could do it all.
Oh man. What else?
I mean, so much. This movie. So I don't know how much of the budgetary issues contributed to the structure of this movie, but there are several points where it just cuts to black and there's dialogue being shouted in terms of what's happening.
Hey, I thought that part was cool with when the lights go out.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Absolutely. But I think that it's a complete change of like how that scene was supposed to go. I feel like that it was definitely like he's immediately outside afterwards.
Oh yeah. You don't ever see them escape. They're just
It's like, oh no, we didn't get that one. Okay. Well,
yeah, but I think, I mean, if that is what happened, it ends up being like a cool moment.
Oh yeah, no, it works. So that's what I guess that's what I was trying to say is get into the conversation of, we talk about it has this dreamlike structure and this off-putting pace to it, and it has a lot of dream logic, and like that, I think that example of the lights going out and it feeling like a low budget indie film solve and it working is a testament to the creative problem solving. And it also makes me bring into question how much of that dream logic was intentional, or how much was it just finding creative solutions around the immense difficulty of making a movie when you're 22 with your own money.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, some of it might have come too. I mean, I think the Wikipedia mentions this, and I don't know where they got the information from, but they often I find it's pulled from special features on Blu-rays that are out and stuff. But apparently, you were talking about them cutting down the longer cut, and I think a lot of that kind of like dream logic edits and stuff come maybe from having to do that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He actually tells a story in the book where his then brother-in-law was a psychology major, and they did like their own test screening, and they made like what, to his knowledge, what the first questionnaire for a test screening was of like, did you like the scene? Did you not like the scene? And they cut heavily based on that.
Yeah, man.
One thing go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, speaking of the Blu-ray, like I knew there was like a Blu-ray collection out for this, but apparently it is so popular that it's out of print. And I was devastated because I was looking at all the special features on the Well Go USA like distributed Blu-ray collection, and it looks very impressive. And I am sad that I can't watch those without paying like $200+ or
they were all very expensive.
Sad times.
And not even the one that comes in the ball.
I know. I gotta add it.
That comes in a ball
in the sphere. Yeah,
I
would have put it right next to my Home Alone
Paint
Paint
can,
yeah.
and
I was about to say
Hellraiser
garbage
cube.
pail. Yeah.
Oh, your Fast and Furious tire?
Yeah. And
Speaking of Fast and Furious, did Dom Toretto steal this guy's car?
Yeah. What were you going to say, Eliz?
I was going to say I really appreciated the realism of the first guy that gets his head drilled into by the silver ball thing, and then the blood comes out, and when he drops on the floor, you don't see a puddle of blood, you see a puddle of pee.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, so few horror movies like admit to the fact that these people probably pissed themselves.
Yeah. That was great.
I enjoyed that.
The sphere is such a, it's like an iconic thing, and it's funny that like I think maybe it gets further explained in the sequels coming up, but it's like barely even in the movie. But I guess you could say it probably has like that is probably like the coolest moment as far as like special effects. Or something.
It is, yes,
and it's just such a. I think the fact that it's like totally unexplained and you're just like, what the fuck? And we even get to see like sphere vision at one point and you're just like, what's going on with this sphere? I just love that like that was something that was totally latched on to.
Yeah, I also really liked the hand getting stuck in the door, and then when he sliced up the fingers, just this inexplicable like neon yellow blood comes out, and you're like, what?
And these like ungodly, like non-human screams coming from behind the door, and you're like, what
yeah. And then the finger that he takes home with him turns into like a beetle monster.
Yeah, it's like I think he fed the finger after midnight, and it turned into a gremlin. Or whatever.
Fun fact about the beetle monster: his mom made it.
Aww.
And she did all like a lot of the makeup and a lot of the and did all the crafty and did everything else, but like she did the fake skin makeup and put like a piece of plastic to protect from the drill for the ball scene.
I do think one of the moments that I enjoy, like knowing that it's such a low budget production, is like the time when he's trapped that little like beetle bug thing in his shirt, and he's like walking down the stairs like oh god, it's flying over here, and you just know that he's like faking all that stuff, but it looks really good. And even when his brother joins in, then he's like,
both of them,
they're all fighting
the
against
acting
it.
there was great.
Yeah,
oh man,
it's so good.
Never did I believe Jody's acting more than when he showed Mike the tear in his jean jackets. He's like, oh, Mike's gonna get it. This alien bug you brought into my house tore my jean jacket.
Yeah, then it goes after everyone's favorite character, Reggie, as well.
I love how Reggie just ambles in after they've thrown this bug down the garbage disposal. They're just like, hey everybody, how's it going? And then they try to have a fake tension where they're trying to pretend everything's normal. Yeah. And it's like, if of all people, Reggie's gonna understand.
I didn't really think that they were trying to pretend like everything's normal. I think that they were just in shock still, and Reggie just came in and started spouting off whatever bullshit he was saying, and that they just didn't bother to interrupt him because they were just so like paralyzed in shock.
Yeah,
I like that read.
Speaking of Reggie, I do think it's funny that the first time you see him pull up in the ice cream truck and everything, and
the shot is incredible.
He pulls up in the ice cream truck and then pulls out a guitar, and I was like, the first time I watched this, I was like, oh man, this ice cream man really has to work really hard. He's got to play his own music to try to sell the ice cream.
I thought that too. I was like, why is there a guitar strapped to the side of the ice cream truck?
Yeah. And it turns out, oh no, he was just like going to band practice to play with Jody, or I don't even know if that was Jody outside. I couldn't tell, honestly. Is that Jody that he plays guitar with outside, or is it some other random dude?
Oh no, it's Jody. It's
Jody.
I
I couldn't tell.
No, because Jody, when he's in a different outfit, looks wildly different. Like there's a point where he's driving his muscle car, and when he's in his suit, he looks like the responsible brother that would be taking care of his little brother. Then he looks like
there's that moment.
It's really weird.
There's that moment at the end where Mike looks at that photo of him holding a guitar, and I was like, when did he ever play guitar in the movie? Is that what he was known for?
Tony was in the band with him.
Tommy.
Yeah, Jesus.
No, I had, as with all older movies, I had a little bit of a hard time like distinguishing between middle-aged or old white guys.
Yep.
For a while, because there's like the tall man, but at the beginning there's also like other dudes around that eventually get killed, and I was kind of like, wait, who, what? And then eventually it narrowed down to just the tall man, and so I was like, okay.
So what you're saying is that Reggie's strategy of having a hairstyle that made him distinct worked because you remember him from the other
That's
people.
true. I did remember him.
He's an ice cream man, and he has a ponytail.
Yeah.
And
all the other people, I don't know. I
head.
couldn't tell you.
And his character name is the same as his name in real life.
So is Michael's.
Yeah. Boy.
So, one part we probably didn't need was Sally and Susie in the antique mall.
Well, no, but see, here's the thing about that I love so much is that the cantina is clearly the side of Venice Antiques. They just put a cantina side on the side door. So I love that they used that as an exterior, and then they had some bar set, and then they just used the interior of the actual place that they were shooting that was an actual antique store for a random scene. But I do like the magic photo.
Yeah, I thought I like
and
that.
That's why you got to
too.
get him to the antique store so he could see the photo. But other than that, like they were there for such little amount of time, and it was so obvious that Sally and Susie were going to be unfortunately dragged into this. And they listened to the kid when he told them they needed to leave, and immediately, even though his brother was like, "Don't let him leave."
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, Mike drives a hard bargain. He's a believable kid.
The important thing is that Sally and Susie and the other unnamed women that were locked in some room somewhere all escaped, according to Reggie.
Thanks.
According, I was going to say, all thanks to Reggie, not according to Reggie.
No, I'm going to say according to Reggie, because I don't really know what Reggie did when he discovered the room of kidnapped women.
He's so
Just
nice.
Saying.
Like the wicked.
No, he's so nice. I love when they're trying to think of a plan. When first of all, they don't even need to get to the scene where they explain what's happening to Reggie. It just cuts to them talking about how they're going to take out the tall man, and then he's like, "I say we go up there and we fucking kick his ass."
Yeah, he's like all for it, man.
Then we just put a stake through his fucking heart.
He's all and like I mean, up to the very end, he tries to go like he doesn't even know that girl who is actually Angus Scrim, the tall man. Yeah. He tries to like just save her life, and then she stabs him because she's evil, obviously.
Poor Reggie.
Poor Reggie. He's dead or not.
I guess.
I don't know.
No, he's not.
We do get a pretty cool car chase.
And a cool car explosion.
Yeah, that explosion was huge.
I was like, oh, that's where they saved all the money.
Where's the explosion rank on the Darkman scale?
It's pretty good, but it's just one car. It's not an entire building. So
that's true.
It was pretty honorable for its scope.
Yes.
Yeah.
10 Darkmans.
Yeah, I don't know why Mike got out of the hearse the way he did.
Because it looked fucking awesome.
It did look cool, yeah. But I'm like, if you have, what did he use the knife to break the window?
No, it was a sun. There's a sunroof or a sun top thing.
No, I thought he shot. I thought he shot the window.
Oh yeah, he shot the back window. But I was like, if you've got the gun, why don't you just shoot the guy?
Yeah.
Instead. But instead, he shoots the back window and then jumps out of it. But then he also
he shoots.
Stabbed the.
I think he
tire.
shoots down through the bottom of the car. Yeah, and shoots the tire.
Yeah, that's a cool move. I haven't really. I can't think of when I've seen that before in the movie. From when the inside of a car, somebody shoots the wheel thing, and
that was great.
So, but yeah, it was great when it hit that pole and then it just completely exploded because probably wouldn't have exploded that much just from that one pole. But whatever.
You're like
whatever. Well, according to the president, trees are just exploding now.
God damn it.
Literally, that's what he said today.
Oh boy. Yeah, the whole thing leads up to those three guys finally getting to explore the mausoleum area there, and it turns out they the whole time they've learned about these squished down people that are running around in Jawa suits or whatever, and I love that the whole time they're like, "Oh my God, our parents were buried here."
Yeah.
Do you think this happened to our parents? And Joey's like, "Don't even think about it." But then they end up going to go look and see, and the casket's empty, you guys.
Yeah.
The parents got squished.
Which is fucked up.
Yeah. So then you're like, wait, did their parents get murdered or what? Yeah. And the whole time we had seen, actually earlier in the movie, we see some random girl. I couldn't tell if it was like the girl with the grandma or somebody, but some girl opens up this door that's kind of like at the end of one of the hallways in the mausoleum. And it's just like a bright light and she screams. And then like, that's the end of the scene.
Yeah.
And so we finally get to go in that room and see it's some sort of crazy futuristic hologram.
It's where the tall man practices theremin.
Yes. It's like a tuning fork for the world.
Yeah. We get a flashback, so we remember
Reggie's tuning fork.
Yep.
It was definitely cool when Mike got sucked into the portal and saw the Jabba slaves.
Yeah, but
I love how immediately he's just like slaves.
Yeah,
it didn't necessarily look like they were enslaved, but whatever.
Yeah, it looked like they were walking in a line carrying those barrels. Like, I don't,
just because you're walking in a line doesn't mean you're necessarily enslaved, and we definitely didn't see who the masters of them were.
Yeah, Mike, I think you're making a lot of assumptions there based on being on the planet for 2 seconds. You don't know what's going on at all.
Some of them might be happy, right? No,
let's hard pivot away from this topic.
Tommy didn't look so bad. He was driving a car.
But yeah.
No, they're either they're enslaved in work camp or they're in a conga line and they're a slave to the beat. So
that's terrible.
Either way, against their own will.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to stop it.
They gotta stop it. Well, Reggie has this, weird thought of putting his hands on these 2 poles that are there,
right? Because
just like
he remembers how a tuning fork works.
Yeah, but I don't know why you would make that.
But that's not what you do with a tuning fork, is it? Don't you hit it on something?
Does Reggie look like the smartest person in the world?
He does hit it on something, and then he does that touching thing. I don't know what that's about, but exactly.
Well, no, because that's how he stopped it from resonating. When he touched the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he touches the top of these 2 poles and immediately the tall man like screams and everything starts freaking out and things start getting sucked into the portal. And everything's going
nuts. Windy.
It's so windy. We've got Jody and Mike probably standing right next to each other outside going, "Mike, where are you? Jody, where are you?" And yeah, like it seems like shit is going down. This is where Reggie gets killed. We also see the mortuary kind of like, oh yeah, he gets knifed, I guess. The mortuary also kind of like glows red and yellow, and you're kind of not really sure what's going on.
So they've gone out to try like 5 or 6 different things at this point, and Mike has escaped every single time and showed up right before the plan is foiled or to save Jody or something. Mm-hmm. And we get to the last one, and the final plan is you stay here while I lead the tall man to the top of an abandoned mining shaft, right?
Yeah. This scene is so funny because they get back home after all that craziness. And like, I had to pause the movie for whatever reasons last time. And there's only like, I pauses and there's only like 10 minutes left at this point. So I was like, oh man, there's like nothing left. And he gets back home and he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, there's a mine shaft up in the mountains that's like over 100 feet deep or something. And you're just like, where is this coming from? He didn't mention this the entire time. And it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
And the whole plot is that they're going to go and cover up the signage so that the tall man won't know he's about to drive into the mining shaft, despite the fact that he's been in that town for possibly centuries.
Yeah.
Centuries. Like he could have dug the mine. I just realized you guys probably didn't grow up with Saturday morning cartoons that had PSAs about not playing around unlabeled mine shafts.
No.
But I sure did. That's the thing in Nevada. There's mine shafts that have been left abandoned and you're not supposed to go play around them. I never did because the PSAs were terrifying.
Oh my God. That's real?
Yeah.
I do like that this whole plan sounds like it's ripped out of like, you know, Scooby-Doo or something.
Yeah,
like, we're going to trap the ghost in a giant hole of...
and then Velma will get the lights.
Yeah. We'll pull the mask off.
At this point, I sort of had a hard time following, but it looks like the plan works.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Jody's like, yeah.
Jody's up on the hill with its arms raised like, we did it.
Yeah.
O'Doyle rules. Yeah, just like that.
And then Mike's watching, right? Because he had snuck out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike is the one who like
stay put.
Mike is the one who leads the guy into the mine shaft. And then Jody's the one who pushes a bunch of boulders down off.
Oh yeah, some very large, like Indiana Jones ball sized boulders.
Because I mean, if he's just gonna fall down a pit, he could still crawl out, I guess. Now you got to cover.
Well,
it with
when you
boulders.
fall down a bottomless pit, you die of starvation.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Although we don't know how the tall man eats or anything.
That's true.
We don't know how the tall man eats.
He's been alive that long. Who knows what he does?
Is it like poetic or ironic or just sad that the aliens are short but the man is tall? Or do you think that he is one of them and he is short, and so when he has the chance to take over a human body, he purposely makes himself like really tall?
Well, I actually don't think that he is. I think that they turn people into short things that they can control. Like, I think that there might be a whole society of tall men.
Oh, they're all tall
on the planet. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Interesting.
We'll find out.
Yeah, potentially.
I actually don't remember much about the sequels, so
I have not seen any of them. Yeah.
Okay, so the plan works. Jody celebrates. Mike's watching, and then it just cuts.
Like Mike wakes up in bed, I think, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I thought he woke up like sitting by the fire.
Oh, yeah. By the fireplace with Reggie.
Yeah.
And he's just like...
he's like weeping. Reggie's alive now?
Mm-hmm.
And...
Jody's dead.
Jody is actually dead, and then Reggie gives like a tearful, incredibly strangely earnest for the tone of this film speech about how he's gonna like do right by Jody and raise Mike on his own, and they'll never be apart, and they're gonna go on a road trip now.
And he's like, let me sing you a song. I'm playing by the fireplace. Yeah.
It's just Piano Man, but Ice Cream Man.
Ice Cream.
So, like, what was a dream?
Yeah,
right.
It's really weird because we also see shots of Mike like at Jody's gravestone in a cemetery that looks very different from any of the cemetery that we see in the rest of the movie, and you see that it was like, you know, he had died 1978 or whatever. And apparently he died in a car crash as well, right? That's what
They said it was a car crash and it had nothing to do with the tall man that doesn't exist, according to Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie seems to have no memory of any of the shenanigans.
So, yeah, and so the movie kind of leaves you with this like, oh, you know, maybe you could have interpreted it as like this kid dealing with the death of his parents and his brother and making up this crazy story in his head or something about the tall man taking my family and other people's families and doing all this crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, the two movies they did before this were actually pretty serious, like coming of age. Like one was the first movie he did was about older brother, like this exact situation, like an older brother having to take care of a younger brother after their parents died, and like they were dramas. Like that's what he was trying to do. So I think that he was trying. I think that maybe it's supposed to feel a little bit like that. And like that's kind of a fucked up idea of like that's what trauma would do to you. Is like it's really more horrifying to be, you know, not being able to deal with the emotion and the loss that you have, and then to like double put like the surprise ending where the tall man is back in the room and is going to get you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fairly terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like one super interesting, valid rating. Another way to look, and I guess we'll find out in the sequel, to look at it might be like the tall man Reggie is the tall man in disguise, and they're gaslighting
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
That it all did happen, and they're trying to
You
make him
just
think
do
it's-
not trust Reggie.
I do not. No.
Well, the last person to see Reggie alive was the tall man, so I would.
That's true.
It would make sense that maybe he like assumes the form of someone he's killed or something. I could see.
Or
that.
maybe Mike's in a barrel.
No.
Mike's in a barrel.
Barrel of Mikeys.
That's
A
right.
barrel of Mike's. There's a very regular barrel of Mike's over here. Yeah, and that's just the process of being scrunched.
Yeah, like what do you guys think the scrunching process is? Because
You
it's
have to-
weird.
you have to live out all of your worst fears and all of their different varieties, and as each one you do, you shrink a little bit more and more.
Well, it's weird
they,
that
like-
there are like the ones in the Jawa outfits running around in the mortuary, but then there's also ones that are packed away in these like oil bins or whatever.
Which it is incredible that when you see them and you know what they look like, they're not scary at all, but there are some genuine scares that involve them, like just seeing them moving and doing
They
stuff in
bite.
this movie.
They
Yeah.
bite you. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they put you in the barrel and then every day, like, put the lid down another centimeter so that you very slowly, like, crunch so that you never actually die, but that you, like, become, I don't know.
They're like little
I love
pressure.
how it's like a sourdough starter for them, where it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit, and then all right.
Every day you become more and more dehydrated and, like, you shrink instead of, like, getting crushed and just dying, right?
Yeah, but he also has to reanimate them somehow too, because these are dead people he's taking, right?
Oh, you're right. Then you could do whatever and then stuff. Like you could cut out all the vertebrae and ribs you don't need. And
Yeah, maybe he just cuts out the torsos and sews everything back
Yeah,
together.
he's literally cutting out the middle, man.
That was great.
I am going to retire from the podcast now. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
good night. Good night. Oh my god.
All right. Well, is it about that time? I think that listeners have to write in and tell us what they think the barrel process is, because
Or
I
just
would love
what
to
they
know-
think at all. Any theories. I'm happy to hear any theories.
Also, before we move into the rating system, I want to just play my favorite clip that I have from
Please.
the movie here. Here we go.
Oh, shit.
That time he turns around and sees him is so great.
It's
so
so
great.
good.
That's like, yeah, the only line delivery like some random kid can give you.
Yep.
Oh shit.
So good.
So funny.
How many barrel of mics would you give?
Barrel of mics.
Phantasm.
You know, I really like this movie a lot. I was originally going to give it an 8, but I think I'm going to bump it up even. I'm going to bump it up to a 9. I just think like, you know, seeing this movie and then reading more about it and just like, I think it's an incredible feat of independent filmmaking. Like the fact that this movie was, you know, completely independently financed. It sounds like they, you know, cut all the corners they could and did crazy shit to make this movie happen. And then to find out that, you know, years later, it's now like perennially on the top, like, you know, 100 horror movies of all time list. And it's like this huge cult thing is like such an amazing achievement. I just like, yeah, I think this movie has just such a weird vibe to it. That it's fun to rewatch and just kind of like sink into that feeling of unsettledness and mystery in this movie. And I really enjoy the sci-fi turn, you know, that nobody sees coming and just kind of slowly learning the mysteries about the tall man, but still not really learning anything. It just makes me like really eager to watch these next movies where I don't necessarily always feel like I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next. From what I've heard, like things get pretty crazy. So I'm excited for them to maybe lean even further into the sci-fi and get more into the lore of the tall man. I just really think that, I'm not surprised that this movie has endured so well. Yeah, I'm excited that we're watching through these.
Yeah, I'm going to give it I'm going to give it 7 barrel of mics. I know I poked a lot of fun at it, but I really did enjoy this movie, and I think it is very, very cool, and just like an amazing feat that this is, made the same year as Star Wars, like on just a fraction of the budget, and that's just crazy. It's super cool, and I just like to theorize and overthink the possibilities of these things. That's why we are obsessed with things like Lost and Westworld and all these shows, and the whole JJ mystery box thing. Like, you can see why he would love this movie so much and why we like those kind of things that are so mysterious, and you get some answers but not really, like Justin said. So yeah, I mean, well, we can talk about our predictions after this, but yeah, it's super cool, and you can definitely tell why it's a classic and how many other people and things it inspired.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I will never be able to fully appreciate this movie for seeing it in the moment before everything that was it was kind of a renaissance of horror movies at the time. So there's so much stuff that feels pulled from so many different things, but so much of the DNA of the modern horror movie is in this movie. And so it's one of those things that I will never be able to fully appreciate it, because it's reverse engineering. It's the seeing the thing on the Simpsons episode, and then going back and actually seeing the real thing. Yeah. So I'm going to give it 9 barrels of Mike. I think that this movie is just it's an amazing achievement and incredibly inspiring for independent filmmakers out there. Like, it's really awesome, and it has a bunch of the insane, bizarro ideas that you can only get when there's not 10,000 producers over your shoulder. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm super excited to dive into it, because I forgot how much I loved this movie and what a fondness I had for it. And I'm like mad at myself for not diving deeper into the series before now.
Well, don't worry. We got plenty of Phantasm coming up here. And in fact, the next movie is called Phantasm 2. Not much to go off of as far as guess.
How many years later?
Yeah. So, when the movie first came out, it kind of got like a little bit of a, it wasn't like a huge hit, and it took a long time. It took a while for it to start to build that cult status. So the second movie doesn't come until 1988.
Wow.
So almost 10 years later for Phantasm 2. But
he made the first Beastmaster afterwards.
Yeah, same director and everything. So I'm excited to see his continuing vision into the second movie. I don't know what's going to, I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. I just hope that we get more insight into what exactly is going on with the tall man. Like, what is he doing? What's his plans?
Yeah, I have no idea. Is the tall man even going to be there? Are the character, like, are we going to find out if what happened to Mike was actually real or not? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm assuming since it's so much later that it's going to be just all new characters and probably the tall man.
I don't know. I feel like he might be the type of guy that can only do it with his buddies.
Jody's back in Phantasm 2.
And now he's an ice cream man.
I tried not to spoil anything, but like, there's a reason that there's no child star check-in for this episode. So.
Oh. Okay.
That always sounds ominous to me. I don't want to know it.
It's not bad ominous, but
okay.
There's no point in talking about it. If it was something bad, I would tell you, please.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind being the bearer of bad child star news.
I was like, oh, what the fuck did he do?
No.
Mike, no.
No. Of course not. Okay. So yes, we'll be back with that next week. But in the meantime, send us your theories, and we're happy to discuss them and debate who has the best theory. sequelrights@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
I was just thinking about the thing that would be so bad that you wouldn't tell us, and it's just like, and then Mike grew up to be Mitch McConnell.
I knew it. That would be so, well, he changed his name to Mitch.
Yeah, but his friends call him Mitch. Dun dun dun.
Put that on this guy.
I know.
That's terrible.
I was just thinking
That's
about
terrible.
like the worst thing.
What the worst thing could be.
Yeah. But after that rant, please give us 5 stars for quality content like that on Apple Podcasts. We do really appreciate it. It actually does help. If you like our podcast, that's all we ask. You don't have any ads, you don't have anything else. If you give us 5 stars, we're happy. You're happy. So I guess next week it's Phantasm 2.
Yeah, well, I sure hope you show up next week for Phantasm 2. We'll see you guys then.
Well, shit.
Oh, shit.
See you guys.